guys, here come the dollies. They got fresh sinkers, hot coffee, and the sweetest smile.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Clubmobile. We're so happy to have you.
Hi, everyone.
We're very excited to share with you guys this episode. I think maybe I'm just being biased, but I think that this is Winnie's niche. This is Winnie's
Oh,
sweet
yeah,
spot.
it absolutely is. We are back to old Hollywood during World War II. And I think that this one is such an important story because this story is about the woman who was classed as the first American casualty of World War II. And if that doesn't, trigger any kind of memory, we will be talking about Carole Lombard today.
I knew Carole, I knew Carole Lombard. I knew her name. I knew she was an old Hollywood actress. I did not know she was the first American casualty of World War II.
Yeah, she
Until I
died.
started digging deeper into like
Yeah,
old Hollywood and all that.
she died so early on that she was technically classed as the first American casualty. She died in January of 42. Um, I'm very excited to get into the story of it because it is very interesting and it does show how selfless she was. And I feel like in that time, especially, a lot of people were not being selfless. It was the beginning of the war. The US had just entered or were about to enter the war. And I feel like a lot of people were panicking, and she didn't seem to be. So, yeah, I think it's a really interesting story. Um, Carol was born into a rich family. She was raised by a single mother. Um, they were extremely close. Not on the level of Ginger Rogers and her mother, like, the term like momager, essentially, the
Yes.
mum manager.
Yes. That's what they call
It
the
wasn't,
Kardashian moms.
yeah, it wasn't to that level, but Carol and her mother were extremely close.
Hmm.
And her mother supported all of her, like, dreams of stardom and what have you to the
You don't get that a lot back in that time. So like a
No,
single mother,
absolutely
a
not.
wealthy single mother.
Mm,
I feel like that's not a common phrase you hear when you refer to children born in that
yeah,
time.
it wasn't, and she seemed to understand that she was part of something very special. So her mother supported everything she wanted to do up to, moving to Los Angeles and pushing her daughter forward for auditions and, things for movie studios. She was 12 when she made her
Young.
screen debut. She was very, very young. And she worked with director Alan Dwan up until the age of 16 when she signed a contract with Fox, who was then known as Fox Film Corporation.
Okay.
A lot of these studios have changed names over the
Mm.
years, so you have to kind of like weirdly
Nothing's
keep track
nothing's
of
the same, but
everything.
that's why they call it Hollywood's golden era, like the golden age
Yeah,
of Hollywood. It was just so even like the names of the studios, the way they were like depicted, the way that they like you see them kind of portrayed in movies and stuff. It's like
yeah, all very magical,
I can see the appeal. It is very glamorous. Looks
all
very
all
glamorous.
very much the dichotomy of the American dream,
Hmm.
to the point where a lot of these movie studio gates were gold, so that it would be a case of you're walking through the golden gates into this land of opportunity. And
Crazy. That I didn't know. That's really cool.
yeah, so at the age of 19, she had a near-death experience in a car crash, which almost drew her career to a close. And she had a scar upon her face after
Oh
that.
wow.
And she worried that it would affect her career because a lot of,
Hmm.
I mean, nothing has changed in terms of you're a movie star and your appearance matters the
Right.
most over how talented you are. And she worried for a while that it would affect things. It didn't. She was in comedy films for a short while after. Um, but her big break came in 1931 when she married one of my favorite actors, William Powell.
I love William Powell. Sorry, I
He
know this is an
is
episode on Carole Lombard, but I
he is he's so silly and so funny, and I can see how she was so charmed by him because
oh,
every single time I watch him, I am
I'm charmed, and the
charmed.
man has been dead since the 80s, and I'm
Yeah,
like, but this is so great. These movies are so great.
he's wonderful. He's a great actor.
The Thin
There
Man
was
movies, watch them. We promise.
watch all
You'll
of
love them. Watch
we
all of
say
them.
we say watch all of them. There's one that we were like, oh, I know I don't like this one. Was
But
it
we
the
won't tell you which one it is, so watch all of them.
watch all of them and then you can make your own decision and come back to us.
But I can absolutely see how she was so charmed by him. I mean,
She
there
was
was an
very
age gap there
charmed.
too. She
There
was
was a big age
23. She
gap.
was 23 and he was 38, which I guess, but and we say, oh, there was a big age gap.
But
That
back
still
then that
happens in
wasn't.
Hollywood now.
Yeah, it still happens now.
Still
And back
happens now. It's
then,
even outside of Hollywood, it happens now.
yeah.
But I guess
Back,
back then it was a little more taboo that, he had over 10 years, he had 15 years on her.
weirdly enough, no one seemed to care or mind. It seemed less of a ordeal then. I think it was a fact that they were both adults and no one really seemed to
It was more trouble to actually harp on it than to just let it go. Yeah.
just let it go. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, now there's a huge age gap. Like you're at two completely different stages of life.
Hmm.
But that's how she got her big break was through him and his friends, and obviously them getting married, and the studio then pairs them together. They were in My Man Godfrey together. I'm not sure
Cool.
if that was post divorce, but they remained really, really good friends
I'll
up
have to
until
look that
she
movie up. I
died.
don't know if it's on the list you gave me or not.
My Man Godfrey is definitely on the list I gave you.
It has to be on the list. Yeah.
It's one of the classics of the time. It's great. Um, again, William Powell is so silly. He's just a silly guy. I don't think I've ever seen him play a straight, serious character, and I'd like it to remain that way. Because
Didn't he though in How to Marry a Millionaire with Marilyn Monroe and Lauren Bacall? Wasn't he like more of a serious fella? I mean, kind of
is he
silly,
in
but
that?
he is in that. Because I
Is he?
remember watching it and going, "Oh my God, there's your guy William Powell."
Oh,
I was watching
I
it because I love Lauren Bacall, and I'm
yeah.
like, "Wait a second, that's a very not very old, but that's an older, kind
Yes,
of
it is.
gray,
It is.
kind of
He.
gray-haired William Powell."
My brain just went
And that
blank
might be the only
because
time I've ever seen him be like not
old.
completely dopey, like
Yeah. See, that
not like
explains so
just kind of like
much.
goofy and funny. Like this
Yeah.
was the only time I think I'd seen him be like an older, like legit gentleman.
I haven't seen it in years, so my brain didn't click that it was him until you just because I watched that before I watched The Thin Man. I've only really just watched the Thin Man series back to back. Um, so I think that's why I didn't click
May I suggest you watch it
it was
again?
I should do it again. See, now I'm thinking about it, I realize that it is him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he isn't dopey in that one.
No, he's not. Which is why it
Anyway,
took me a second to clock that it was him.
it was him. Um, William and Carol divorced after 2 years, only 2 years. And
Long
they
by
blamed,
Hollywood standards.
yeah, they blamed their careers mostly. They realized they were very incompatible. It probably had something to do with the age.
I would imagine so.
But in 1939, she remarried. She married Clark Gable. And I think that's what she is most recognized for in terms of, apart from the movies, is that she was married to one of the biggest movie stars of the
That
era.
was, you want to talk about two people who loved each other?
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God. Was there, and what I don't know is, and I'm curious to find out, was there an age gap there as well?
No, not that I
No,
know of. And even if there
not like a
was,
massive age
it
gap. Like
wasn't
I'm not saying like a
huge.
year or two, give or take, but
Yeah, it wasn't a noticeable age gap. I
uh-huh.
believe it was at maximum four
That's not an
years.
age gap to
It's
me.
not huge.
No, you're in the
Um,
same bracket. I would not
yeah,
consider that an age gap, not even
un
today.
un unlike Carol and William, who were there was a huge gap. I don't believe there was a massive one
Mhm.
between Gable and Carol. Um, they after they married, they bought a 20-acre ranch in California where they raised animals and they lovingly referred to each other as Ma and Pa.
I love that. Like,
So sweet.
just Ma and Pa, like
They
sweet
just
couple
loved each
nicknames.
other
I'm not a
so
complete
much.
sap where I'm like,
Oh,
oh
I
my God, you
am.
have to have a you have to have a nickname for your husband. You don't have a nickname for your husband. I'm not like sappy like that, but I'm like, when I read something like that, I'm like, just feel
Yeah.
your insides melt and you're
No,
like,
I'm
oh,
the
that's so
same.
sweet.
It's so very cute.
Like, I
And
can't picture my parents today having like cheesy, like, sweet romantic nicknames
they
for each other.
probably did at some
But you
point.
know my parents, like, you know them in
Yeah.
reference to how I speak about them, and like I don't know
Yeah.
that it would click. But
No.
like I've never heard them refer to each other as like sweetheart or babe.
Has it always just been full government name
It's just, they call each other by their
by their name?
names, and then, you know,
It's very sweet though.
it's very sweet.
It's very,
That's their
very sweet.
definition of sweet, I guess.
Um, but they lived this happy life for a short time. They still kept on with their careers. And then as the US entered World War II, Carol was very, I wouldn't say pushy, but she was encouraging Clark to enlist. And he kept saying no because he didn't want to leave her. He didn't want to go to war. He wanted to stay with her, and he wanted to help by selling war bonds and victory bonds and going on tour
He
with
wanted to
her.
do the war bond tour with
Yeah,
her.
he really wanted to stay home and do his part and still keep acting and still,
Right.
you
Unlike Jimmy
know,
Stewart, who was gung ho to enlist in the Air
he was
Force.
extremely gung-ho to
Yeah.
enlist.
But I think that's sweet that he wanted to do his part just in a different way, that he
Yeah,
could stay close to his wife. Like,
yeah.
the
And
war was
we,
separating so many people. Why should we let it separate us, type of thing,
yeah.
when we can avoid
And
it? I get that.
and we will segue back to Jimmy Stewart
Mm.
in in a little while because he kind of, I would say, helped Clark figure something out. But anyway, we'll get there. Um, so as the US entered World War II, Carol returned to her home in Indiana, her hometown in Indiana, to start hosting war bond rallies. Um, and if anyone doesn't know what a war bond is, we have referred to it a bunch of times, like in the Hollywood episode that we did, and
Mm.
I think in previous episodes after that. They're sometimes referred to as victory bonds, and they were publicly given donations towards government spending. The government had this really bright idea to use celebrities during World War II to promote the selling of these war bonds. Um, and they would sell them at like USO shows and, stage door canteen and things that we've already spoken about. They would encourage, you know, regular Joe Schmoes like you and I to donate money towards the war effort.
This was
Um,
because World War One had cost the government so much
oh,
money,
something insane.
like
Like,
30 million.
yeah,
30 million by
by that
that
standard,
standard, which, if you do the math for today, it's got to be astronomical.
I didn't even do the math because I didn't even want to look at that number. I'm going to be real with you. A huge, huge amount. Um, but yes, they had the really great idea to use celebrities to encourage regular people to donate to the fund. Um, Lots of posters, get the boys home,
It's very
pay for
much
their
akin to like
ammunition.
not a GoFundMe, but like a
No, it was
charity, like
essentially.
essentially a GoFundMe, like, and the
Yeah.
cause was the war.
Yeah. I believe it was Rita Hayworth that sold the front and back bumpers of her car
Yes, it
and
was.
donated the money to war bonds.
Yeah.
And like a lot of them would sort of tease the audience and they would hire one, enlisted man from the audience and
Hmm.
he would pay $10,000. I'm saying pay in air quotes, like everyone can
Right.
see me. He would pay $10,000 to get a kiss from like Rita Hayworth or from Lena Horne or from whoever. But he was part of the show.
He
So
was.
after,
It's like in, what is it, Stage Door Canteen or Hollywood Canteen?
it's one of the
I think
two.
Hollywood Canteen.
Yeah.
There's the one soldier, Slim,
Mm-hmm.
who ends up being the 1,000th or 1 millionth customer of the Hollywood
Yeah.
Canteen, and he gets to dance with, I forget which actress it is because it's been a while since I've watched it,
Yeah.
but he gets to dance all this, and the donation is made to victory bonds or war bonds in his
Mhm.
name, but it's really money
From
raised by the
them.
canteen. Yes.
Yeah.
But it's made in
Um,
the soldier's name,
they
which
would
I think
like
is very smart.
they would that would somehow encourage other people to
Yes.
donate, because if you're getting a little smoochie from
Uh-huh.
one of the prettiest women in Hollywood, you're gonna also donate
If you're
so
watching
you
your
can
pal get
get,
surrounded by the Andrews sisters and serenaded, like, like, wait,
yeah,
I want to be
I
serenaded
want some
too.
of
Like,
that.
let me donate.
Let me just
It
sell
makes
my
sense.
car.
It really was an awesome tactic
It was
when you
very
think about it.
clever.
It was
And
very clever.
and a lot of them during the shows were very, carefree, and they relaxed them a
Yeah.
lot. We know with the comedy and the music and the whatever else and the acts that they had.
Yeah.
So people were just giving money away, like selling cars, you know, potentially selling their homes. It was crazy. Very smart.
Yeah. Very
So
smart.
um it was just essentially to raise money for the fighting soldiers, clothing, weapons,
Right.
bombs.
Construction of planes and
Yeah,
ammunition and
even raising money for air bases to be built to
Mhm.
house, the people that they wanted to support. On Carol's war bond rally, she raised more than $2 million in one evening, which is insane. I don't know what she did. I don't know if she was, smooching or whatever, like everyone else was. I probably was. Um, More than $2 million in bonds in
in
one
one night.
single evening. Yeah.
That's
hmm
insane. Did she
Um,
go out? Do you know, did she go out with anybody else?
Not
Like
that
I know a
I
lot of
know
times, like
of.
you'd see like, Rita Hayworth and Bob Hope or Hedy
Mm,
Lamarr. They were all part of the war bond rally. Gene
yeah.
Tierney was part of the war bond rally. Like,
I believe she
this was
was
so
with,
early in the war that I wondered, did she go just on her own?
I
Or
believe she did just go by herself.
good on
I mean,
her.
she traveled with other people, but it was more of just
Right.
the
She
show
was the,
itself.
yeah, she was the headliner. It wasn't
Yeah,
like,
the show
Bob Hope's
itself was
USO tour. Yeah.
alongside. Yeah, it was
Hmm.
it was from what I can gather, it was just her. I would love to be corrected, but this is just the story I've
Right.
known. So if anyone knows any more than I do, which I would love, um, let me know, because I could be getting that completely wrong. Um, Unfortunately, in January of 42, January 16th, um, Carol wanted to leave and go back to Los Angeles, because her war bond tour was done in her hometown of Indiana. They were going to originally take the train, but she said, that's going to take too long. I just want to go home to Clark, which again, oh my God, very, very sweet. And she decided to fly home instead. Her mother and another member of her little entourage um, were scared of flying. So they initially decided Carol can fly by herself and we'll take the train as originally planned. But then Carol's mother did not want to leave Carol by herself, so she also took the plane with Carol. Yeah. Um, so they were already nervous about flying as it
Mhm.
was, but they decided to not leave. They didn't want to leave her by herself
If any
in
of our
case,
listeners are skittish flyers, now's a good time to mute
probably
us or
mute.
yeah.
I'm not gonna go into like the depths of it. A lot of it isn't really known. They refueled in
Hmm.
Vegas and they took off at 7:07 local time, and they unfortunately crashed soon after. And the reason for that was given that the crew and the pilot could not successfully navigate over mountains in the mountain range, because it was dark.
So blackout conditions
The
because of the
blackout
war.
conditions of flying, because of the threat of Japanese enemy bomber aircraft coming into American aerospace, they turned the lights off on the mountains essentially. So
Yes.
there was no way, and it was nighttime. There was no way for the pilot to know where he was,
Where he was, exactly.
yeah. Um, and it was the first war-related American incident, and Carol was the first American casualty
She's
of
also
World
the
War
first
Two.
female casualty.
First female casualty, yeah. She was only 33. Very, very young.
Very young.
Yeah. The American Red Cross were the ones that volunteered to help find her and her party, her mum and her manager.
And to pass with her mother like that, like,
Yeah.
and this goes back to what you were saying at the beginning, which was that her and her mother were very close.
Mm.
That even though her mother was afraid of flying, it was, no, I'm not going to leave my daughter
She
alone.
didn't want to leave her
How
by
many mothers, right?
herself.
How many mothers do things that they're scared of just so their kid doesn't
Just
have
so
to do
their
it by
kid,
themselves?
yeah,
I mean, you're a mom, so you get this.
yeah. I
I
I
don't
do
have
so many
children, but
things
I
I'm
can
scared
tell you
of.
for a fact my mother has done things that she did not want to do solely for me and my brother.
Yeah,
So I get it.
like this is so bland in comparison, but my kids love to go swimming at the pool at our apartment complex. I don't like swimming in the pool at our apartment complex because it is so cold. They don't heat the pool.
Kids are resilient. They don't care how
So
cold it is.
the kids are chucking themselves into this freezing cold pool, and there's me daintily dipping my toes in and screaming because it's Baltic. Now it's not a case of I'm gonna sacrifice my fear of flying and I'm gonna fly with my kids because I just,
Right.
I don't want to leave them. This is very bland in comparison. But yes, we do things for our children we don't
Yes,
necessarily want to
parents do
do
things for their children.
because you just love them and you just
Yeah,
do it.
it's true.
Yeah.
That's like her mother getting on that flight is a perfect example of just the love that a
Oh,
parent has for their
absolutely.
kids.
Absolutely. So it was the Red Cross that recovered Carol's body along with the other deceased passengers on the airplane. Um, and at the time of her death, Carol had been scheduled to star in a movie called They All Kissed the Bride. And soon after her death, they replaced they were I believe they were going to scrap the movie altogether. And then they
Hmm.
chose not to, and they replaced her with Joan Crawford. Now, Joan Crawford donated her salary from the movie to the Red Cross to thank them for recovering Carol's
I love
body,
that.
which was very, this is
Very
why I don't
sweet.
believe that Joan was a bad gal, because she was very sweet underneath it all. Was she a bit of a meanie? Yeah.
Don't we all have that streak in
Don't
us
we have
though?
that little streak? Her rivalry with Betty Davis could be a whole other story. We
More
could
on that
we
later.
could tell that story. Um, but obviously her husband Clark Gable was inconsolable, absolutely
As
devastated,
one would imagine.
as one would imagine. Um, this is how we get back to Jimmy Stewart because
Hmm.
he encouraged Gable to then enlist, and then Gable was reminded of Carol's urgency for him to enlist and join the
Right.
war effort from overseas. So he enlisted in the US Air Force, sorry, the US Army Air Force. Um, Initially, he didn't go because, yes, he did want to stay close to Carol, but MGM were very reluctant to let him
Hmm.
go because he was their biggest star.
Of course.
It was just freshly off Gone with the Wind. Like, I'm not going to let that man go
Right. We're
to
not going to let
war
that go. That's our,
and
right.
potentially lose him in combat. Like,
Right. That's our
I get it.
moneymaker right there.
I get it. And the strangest connection again, you you know how Chloe said in the previous episode, Chloe Malas said there's no coincidences.
Agree. Yes,
Very
absolutely.
strangely enough, obviously, our interest in the 8th Air Force because of Masters of the Air. Gable was with the 8th Air Force. He was a waist gunner on a B-17. He was with the 351st Bomb Group over at
Wow.
Polbrook. So, again, everything always comes
Now,
back.
is that also, with, did he serve with, I know Jimmy Stewart also was in the US Army Air Force and was a pilot.
Yes, he did.
Was he in the same, uh, group as Jimmy?
No, he was over at Grafton Underwood, I believe.
But still
In
part of the 8th Air Force.
He's still part of the 8th. Yeah, they
So they
were
both
both part
served
of
the
the
8th,
8th,
which I think is just
which is great. Yeah, Jimmy Stewart as a pilot, Gable was a waist gunner. I'm not 100% sure if Jimmy Stewart ever went on combat missions. I don't know if he was there just to, pep the boys up and
I
say
feel
that
like I
I can do
read
things that
somewhere
you
that he
can.
did, but I feel like I read somewhere that he did one or
Yeah.
two, but don't take my word for it. I'm gonna do some research on that. I'm gonna
Um,
look into that further to make sure that I'm not just spewing false information for you guys.
Gable did, however, he did go
He
on
went on
combat
combat.
missions with his crew.
I
Um,
feel like at that point he's riddled with grief, and
that's
his
exactly
his
it.
thinking is, well, if I die, then
Then I'm with
if I die,
Carol.
I die. I'm with Carol.
I'm going with my
Exactly.
wife.
Right.
Um,
He had nothing left really to
yeah.
go home to, which is so sad.
Officially it was 5 combat missions, but his crew went on to say he was on way more than 5. And I believe that they lied about it being 5, so MGM wouldn't go insane. Because MGM were like, you can't go on any missions,
Right.
period. So he was already defying direction by going
Mhm.
on 5. Um, he insisted on being the rear gunner on every mission, and a CEO later remarked that he was trying to get himself killed, like you just said, so he could join up with his beloved Ma, which, oh God. Even though this man remarried twice,
She
he
was the
re
love of his life.
he was interred next to her
It's
when
like
he
Frank
died in
Sinatra and Ava
1960.
Gardner. She was the love of his
Oh,
life.
I don't know who shot who in the foot, but they just kept on loving each other. Like one of them shot the other in the foot during an argument, Sinatra and Ava Gardner.
I think you could visit his house in Palm Springs, or
Oh,
what was his
amazing.
house in Palm Springs, and like one of the bathroom sinks is all cracked, and they say it's from an argument that he had with Ava.
My
But after
God.
she passed, he continued to pay
He
the
did.
upkeep of her
Yeah.
estate and her grave. And I'm not,
He paid all her medical
he
bills too
paid
when she was
everything.
sick.
Sinatra paid
Hmm.
for everything,
Yep,
which
he
just
did.
goes to show you that, like, I hate you right now, but I love you forever, I guess.
Yeah,
I love you, but right now I don't like you. Let's put it like that.
it was
Hate is
very
a strong word.
volatile.
Yeah, it was very volatile. And I think
Very
that's a lot of
volatile.
Hollywood romances, I
Oh,
feel like.
absolutely.
Very
Yeah.
volatile. But
But he remarried twice, but he still chose to be interred next to Carol when he died in 1960. Um, Gable would use his days off on missions to write to the wives of the men that were MIA and KIA and potentially POWs.
oh my gosh.
He said, I saw so much of death and destruction, I realized that I hadn't been singled out for grief, that others were suffering and losing their loved ones just as I had lost Ma. So I feel like he went to war for her to honor her,
Right.
but he wasn't going to be too fussed if he didn't make it home.
Right.
Even though he had this long career waiting for him, he was still um, so taken by this grief that he just didn't care. He did not care. And I believe, again, it was Jimmy Stewart that was like, come on, get it together type thing, as you would in the 40s.
Right.
You would have some sympathy, but towards
You
a
would
not,
have some sympathy, but like,
yeah,
pull
man to man,
yourself
it's like
together,
a come
man. Like,
on,
yeah,
like we're at war.
very
You've
much
got to do
so.
your job. You're here
Right.
to protect everybody else as well. It's not just about you. Um, and I think he realized that, as he said, I hadn't been singled out for grief. It wasn't just him that was grieving. There was
Right.
thousands of other people who were losing, their sons and their husbands and brothers every
Yeah.
single day. Weirdly enough, there is a conspiracy surrounding Carol's death and the plane crash, which I did not know about
I had no
until
idea until you told me.
we began researching for the episode.
Which is
I
so much of
didn't
the things that we say. I had no idea until we started researching
Yeah, like I knew about Carol. I knew about the plane
it.
crash. I
Hmm.
knew that she was the first female American
Right. Right.
casualty of the war. I did not know that Orson Welles had a conspiracy theory about it. But I mean that kind of tracks for Orson Welles. He did War of the Worlds, like come on. And people believed him that the
I
world
was
was
gonna say,
ending.
people must have believed him
People turned on the
and put their
radio.
money on it.
Yeah, people turned on their radio halfway through that radio. If you've heard it from the beginning, it
Mhm.
says radio show by Orson Welles. If you turned your radio on 10 minutes later, you think that alien robots have come down from the sky, and that's it. These people were like white knuckling the armchair, like
Oh
panicking.
my
Am I going to be
God.
next? And then at the end, he says, "Thanks for listening." Anyway, so very on brand for Orson Welles to do something like this. Um, he had been told by an unnamed security agent of the airline that Carol had used that Flight 3 was shot down by Nazi agents who knew of her route in advance of her flying. Um, I think this is nonsense because Carol hadn't even decided to fly up until she was like, it's going to take too long to get back to my husband. I don't want to take the train.
And I mean, look, there were German spies on American soil, just
Yes.
as there were American spies overseas.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think that I think this is a bit far-fetched. I do.
You see, like you're like, oh, this is far-fetched, and then you get to this next part where you're like, maybe it isn't. Um,
Go on.
Hitler was a very big fan of Clark Gable's and enjoyed his movies a lot. To the point he tried to arrange a meeting with Gable. Obviously, Gable refused. Um, but Hitler was mad that Gable was fighting against him after he had enlisted. To the point he offered a substantial award for Clark Gable's capture should Gable have been shot down
What
during a
was he
combat
gonna
mission.
do? Keep him as a pet? I mean,
Essentially, yes, he was going to
see,
keep,
okay, you're right. See, like it does seem far-fetched that the Nazis would have shot her down
yeah.
because
So
she
his,
made the decision to fly, yes, like you said, so like it was a split decision.
yeah, and it's
But
Orson Welles. Like, come on,
and it's Orson
again,
Welles.
the
So it's
man
like
wrote War of the
you get those
Worlds.
two bullet points and you're like, it's Orson Welles. And
Mm,
she decided at the 11th hour she was gonna fly. There's no way. Then you
then
get
there's that.
there and you're like,
Hang on a minute.
wait a
He
second.
was he was
Wait a second.
essentially going to keep him as a performing monkey for the duration of the war. I
Could you
don't know how,
imagine like,
right?
Could you imagine Hitler boasting like I have Clark Gable?
In my
Dance monkey
house.
dance? Like
Yeah, essentially.
that's
So,
nuts.
you're a
He
bit iffy
offered,
about it, and then you're like,
yeah.
hang on a minute. Um,
But wait, there's
so
more.
yeah, there's always, but wait, there's more. So Orson Welles also claimed that the shooting down of this plane was kept under wraps to prevent vigilante action against Americans of German ancestry. So they never reported that it was a German spy that had shot the plane down purely because Clark Gable's wife was on it. Um, Neither claim has been confirmed. Shock.
Shocker.
My jaw stayed in place. But Orson Welles wrote about this in his autobiography, and that's how this conspiracy theory came to be. He wrote it in his life story because he was friends with Gable and he was friends with
Right.
Lombard.
Wow.
Um,
I'm still baffled at Hitler trying to arrange a meeting with Clark Gable. Like,
yeah,
yeah, hey, I know we're both on opposite sides of the line here, but want to have coffee?
he thought he could tempt him into the other side because he was such a big fan of his.
Unbelievable.
Um, the figure
Unbelievable.
of the substantial reward has never been given. I'm
Right.
assuming it was pretty hefty.
I would
Um,
imagine.
but the fact that people knew about it and we've seen the scenes of the guys being shot down from the bombers in Masters of the Air, and we've read about it quite a lot at this point. So knowing that someone from this tiny European village would recognize Clark Gable and somehow try and get him to Hitler for reward money is a
Imagine
bit
being the person who uttered the phrase, for you, the war is over to Clark
to
Gable.
Clark Gable. But
Because
that
that's
was
like
the
the only American phrase that Germans were taught.
yeah, they
If
weren't
should they come across an American.
yeah, I don't even think they knew what it meant. It was just words that they had learned.
Words. Yeah, just words.
For you, the war is over. But I don't think a lot of them would have recognized Gable because they
They
lived
were
in
such
such
small
tiny,
German towns.
small
Yes.
villages, even. I wouldn't even
Not
go
to
as far as
sound
town.
insensitive, but he would have just been another American with a mustache.
Yeah, they all look the same at this point.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Exactly. You are very correct.
He would have just been another American with his hair slicked back and a lucky strike behind his ear and a mustache.
He would have been just like anyone else that they had seen or
Yeah,
were warned about.
absolutely.
Um, but I don't think, as much as I would like to say some good came out of it, I wouldn't say it was good. You know, Gable did not get shot down. He did not get essentially kidnapped by Hitler to be his personal puppet.
Right.
So that's good. Gable did make a movie while he was over in England with his crew, and it's called Combat America. It's on YouTube.
Okay.
Um, we will post the link.
Yes.
It's such a great movie because it's just it's just Gable being Gable. He's so charismatic that you would never if you didn't know that he was actively grieving his
Mhm.
wife, you would not know. But then you know and you see it in his eyes. He's very like he's trying to be cheerful and his men are all like, "Woo, we're going to war"
But the
type
smile
thing.
doesn't reach his eyes.
Oh, like I watched it the first time before I knew this story
Right.
years and years ago. So I've always kind of known about these things. But researching more into this, I watched a clip of it again,
Mhm.
and he's trying to join in the camaraderie, and it just isn't, it's not there. And it makes me
Not
so
there.
sad. But I guarantee it's a really great movie. It's very educational.
I'm gonna
Um,
check it out.
It's on YouTube, it's free. It's very long though, it's an hour and 40 minutes. And a lot of it is just B-17 noise because they're in the B-17 and you're flying and it's just a
Good,
lot of
cool, right up my alley.
noise. Um, so if you're not in the mood for a lot of airplane noise, it's kind of overstimulating. Um, but yeah, that is the story of the first female American casualty of World War II. Um, she was interred under the name Carole Lombard Gable. And even though that was never her official,
Mhm.
it was her name legally, it wasn't her name, her professional name. But I think that is how she
Hmm.
would want to be remembered as
Ma.
Ma. Yeah. Um, but it's such a sad,
It is.
sad story. She did so much for the country, even in such a short space of time. $2 million in one night is nothing to sniff at.
No.
And she had a great career beforehand. She lived a very nice life up until that point. And that's the good part you can take from it is that she was happy.
It
And
was.
that's the good part you can take from a very sad ending. And I like how she is remembered for doing such a selfless thing. She didn't have to go out and sell war bonds. She could have just carried on doing her regular job, being an actress. But she decided to do this, and it had her meet a very untimely end, unfortunately. But I really enjoyed researching into it.
I enjoyed learning about it.
I
I
really
definitely feel
enjoyed
like I
the
learned a lot just
conspiracy.
now.
I really enjoyed the conspiracy theory as well, which I didn't know about, and that gave me something to like mull over for a
It is
while.
definitely something to mull over. So let's pose a question to the listeners. What do you think?
Mhm. Yeah, in the same vein as did was the ball dropped in a league of their own? What do you think? Do you think Clark Gable, not Clark Gable, do you think Orson Welles was
Was on the
telling the
money,
truth or let
right? Do you
us
think it was
know?
true or not? Did you think they just accidentally crashed into the mountains,
Yeah, based on the fact that it was a blackout.
which is not it's not like
It's
that's
not
not
unheard of.
unheard of. Like it was blackout conditions. So that's entirely possible.
Yeah.
But then
But
again,
yeah,
Orson Welles,
it gets a bit iffy, doesn't it?
it does.
Again, because it's Orson
Just a
Welles.
bit.
But yeah, let us know if I've got anything wrong. Please tell us, because I would love to know. This is what I have learned over the years, and this is what I have researched from very reliable sources. If I've got anything wrong, because I would hate to disrespect this kind of story, as I do with every story. Yeah, drop us a message, let us know. I will take it very, very gracefully and say, sorry, thanks.
And if we missed anything, let us know.
Yeah, and we can, obviously go back, add her into other episodes, talk about her again, and we
Oh,
could
yeah.
always,
There's a lot
stay.
of Hollywood and World War II information out there. You
Yeah.
wouldn't think that Hollywood played such a big role in the war, but they really did.
And you would think the episode that we did covered all of the basics, and it
All the
didn't.
basics, yeah.
There was
It was a
so much more
general
to it.
overview,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, if that's something you guys are interested in, like,
We'll do more of those.
we do more
Absolutely.
of those. We can take a specific actress by, who has an interesting story. We'll do it like by request, I guess. So yeah, let us know. Um, Thank you again for listening. I hope you enjoyed this one. This one was very interesting
I
to
enjoyed
me,
it.
at least.
I feel like I got to sit back and like just learn from
Yeah,
you this
sit back
time.
and learn
Yeah.
while I decided to gab.
This is your wheelhouse.
Yeah, it is, which is why I'm so concerned that I might have got things wrong. And if I have, I apologize.
I
But
think you did a wonderful job.
thank you so much.
Thank you guys for listening. We appreciate it as always.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.